Hi, welcome back to PIC Connection Podcast. I'm your host again, Anna McLean. We have Alec Italiano again.
Hello, everybody.
And our new guest is Maegan Kelly, Youth Specialist.
Hi.
So today we're going to be talking about the one program that PIC has right now, which is their youth programs. So mainly we're going to be talking about the Experience Works program. I was actually fortunate enough to be part of the Experience Plus program this past summer as an intern with PIC. So we're just going to go ahead and start off with asking Maegan, what is the Experience Works program?
So the Experience Works program is designed for youth in both the Westmoreland and Fayette County areas. We target youth who are generally between the ages of 16 to 24. However, at this point in time, we are focusing more on the 18 to 24 age range because of how much availability we have in that program. And basically what Experience Works is it's basically a program to help, it's basically designed to help youth in the area get some valuable work experience so that they can kind of get an idea of what it's like in the workforce if they haven't already been in the workforce, or if they have, to match them up with a work site that is in line with where they want to go for their future.
Nice. So you were talking about the work sites that people work at. What kind of places do the participants work? Is it just like big companies, or do they work at nonprofits? Is there any sort of leeway also in where participants get to work?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we definitely try, our number one goal is to try to get them matched up with a work site that is, for one, in their area, so that it's not too difficult to get to their work site, as well as trying to also mesh that with, their interests, their gifts, their talents and abilities, and their ambitions for their future careers. So we have all kinds of different work sites that we've partnered up with for our program. So examples would be, there's a couple small retail environments that are family run or individually run. There's also a couple of boroughs, yes, thank you, Alec. Yeah, municipalities, such as libraries. We have, different settings like that they can get experience in. So,
yeah, I'll add on to that a little bit, because the program, maybe your first job is at a fast food restaurant or I don't know, like something along those lines, like a gas station or something like that, But then the nice thing about the Experience Works program is we really do our best, and Maegan really does a good job of trying to match up the youth with something that they're interested in a field that they might want to go into and explore. So it's not that like typical first like batting cage type of job, or Dairy Queen or something like that. It's you might be working at a bigger company, things like that, or something that you may not have, even the company wouldn't even be able to afford to have that job opening for you. But since we pay the wage for the youth, not only does it give the youth an opportunity to work, but it also gives the company, kind of some extra employment. We pay them $10 an hour. They're really on our payroll when they're working for this company. So it kind of gives them an opportunity to have a couple extra hands on deck. That's why municipalities love it so much. Boroughs and cities and, public works department or something like that, that maybe, normally wouldn't have that in their budget for a summer job, but because of this program, we're able, to provide that for them.
Yeah, I love how Experience Works provides, it really widens the opportunities for both the youth and the work site. The youth is able to get, like Alec was saying, opportunities they wouldn't otherwise get without PIC's partnership with the worksite, and the worksite is also able to, accept and be able to kind of experience, more people coming into their business, and it provides more support for the business.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely a win-win all around, and that's why one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm continuing on with how PIC kind of pays the employees.
mm-hmm.
Alec, how does the Private Industry Council and the Workforce Development Investment Board work together to help fund this program?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the Westmoreland Fayette Workforce Investment Board is the funder for this Experience Works program. And for those maybe not too familiar who they are, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has set up WIBs, for short, Workforce Investment Boards, all across the state. So like Allegheny County, for example, is large enough to basically be their own WIB. Mm-hmm. And an organization called Partner for Work is their WIB. And then they'll do similar type programming. So Westmoreland and Fayette are tied together. And that's why the programs for Westmoreland and Fayette, not really students, but young adults. So that's kind of their role. They also pull in other workforce training dollars into the region. Mm-hmm. This is just one program that they contract out. They do a BOTS IQ program. We also have other contracts with the WIB. We run a drone education program. We did a mentorship program that the WIB funded a couple of years ago. So, they're a key player here for, we work very closely and well with them, but they're also responsible for bringing a lot of the other workforce training dollars into the region. They fund the career links, things like that. They fund an EARN, they call it the EARN program. It's kind of like a welfare program. So that's kind of to give everybody an idea of how this is, kind of being paid for. But this Experience Works program is, I like to call it a legacy program here at PIC, because we've had it since the beginning of PIC. It's actually how we kind of got our start here at Private Industry Council back in 1983. So it's an old program. It's a program that is really kind of like a win-win-win all the way around, because you're getting the businesses and like boroughs and things like that, they like it because they're getting, some extra help. The kids like it, the young adults like it, because again, it's first job opportunity for them, $10 an hour, it's pretty good. And then, then they can go on and, further their career, so fun fact, actually, this is how Private Industry Council got their name, because everybody says, Private Industry Council, that's, you're a nonprofit that works in kind of like human services and early childhood education. Why Private Industry Council? Well, it's actually because of the Experience Works program. It used to just be public sector companies that would benefit from this. So, like a borough or like a city or a public works department, the county. And then somewhere along the line, and I'd say a date, but I'd probably get it wrong. I think it was in the 90s or the late 80s. They let private companies also be a part of this program, so you could place them at, a private company, not just a borough or a city or something like that. So that's why we changed the name to Private Industry Council, to kind of help market that and get the word out about it.
Okay.
So
You learn something new
there's your fun fact here on the PIC Podcast. Yeah, exactly.
That's very interesting.
So learning more about the actual program, what kind of skills do participants learn? So obviously it's not just like your generic, like your fast food that a lot of people, or like retail, something similar to that. They work in more places that they want to work at. What kind of skills will they be learning?
Well, I honestly think that is actually, it really just depends on the individual, on the situation. We do stress the people skills no matter what. No matter what type of worksite environment they're going into, simply because those are so very important. No matter what industry you go into, you do need some amount of people skills and professionalism. So that is something that we talk about. We also have We also have a little bit there's an element to the program that's educational. And a lot of what we go over in that educational component is that professionalism, interviewing skills, they call them soft skills, exactly. So how to dress, and it's just like an all around, it's kind of just like an all around education to help the youth know what to expect when they're in the workforce. And it just reiterates those like really important things that employers look for in when it comes to hiring, new employees. So it really is a valuable program.
We hear that so much from companies about the soft skills and
oh, great.
Maybe it's even just writing out an email and kind of like being professional and how to carry yourself in the, in a working area. And that's, I think, also what makes the program so valuable because, if you want to work in an office, then you have, an experience to be placed in an office-like setting.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of relate to this.
I worked in retail, fast food.
It's also different.
Store.
Yeah.
And on my first day, I was like, am I going to be able to sit for 8 hours on the computer and do work like that? It was, but after learning a couple of days in, you're like, there's a lot that still needs to get done. It doesn't have to be physical and you don't always have to be on your feet, but you still have that sense of, I accomplished something because it's very different. It's a very different environment when you're in that kind of situation.
Definitely.
But it's nice that you actually get to learn and experience that because if I say, like, if I wasn't to have had my internship, I wouldn't be able to say, I feel confident enough to go into a business environment.
Yeah.
And then the participants for the actual Experience Works programs, they are now having that same kind of realization saying, oh, I can do this. It's a good feeling for a young person actually trying to get into the workforce because it's so hard sometimes.
And I always feel like there's such a difference between, somebody can talk to you about people skills until they're blue in the face.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't have the opportunity to apply those skills, then you're really not going to make them your own. You're not going to move on with them.
It's not something you can teach in the
It's not something you learn unless you do it. And I love this program because it gives our youth the opportunity to really apply those skills. And while they're under their work site portion, the supervisors in the work sites have the ability to, treat them in essentially like their own employees, even though they're not paying them per se. And so it's really good for the youth to it's just an amazing learning experience all around for that reason.
As the program name dictates, the experience really does work.
Yes. There you go. It is very appropriately named. Yes, I think we can all agree.
And I have the flyer on the screen right now, and it kind of goes over a little bit more of the program. Like Megan alluded to, it is 16 to 24 years old. There is a little bit, we have in-school youth and out-of-school youth for this program. So obviously like 16 to 18, you're in school. And that's a little different. I mean, they have to go through their school and get working papers and things like that, and there's some different stipulations of what young adults in that age bracket can do. But then you also have the out of school 18 to 24 year olds, and then you have a little bit more freedom and latitude to place them in a work site. And then kind of like what she was saying, we have a lot. So if you are 18 to 24 and know somebody that's 18 to 24, we have a lot of open slots for that age group right now. So like you said, you get paid $10 an hour, up to 30 hours per week, variety of work sites. We talked about that for both for-profit and nonprofit employers. And then, there is really an opportunity to be hired after this program. If the employee likes you, it's like a nice tryout period. So we have the Career Link logo there on the bottom, the PIC logo, and then the WIBS logo there too. So it's a good opportunity. I mean, even if you go through the career link and let's say you're over the age of 24 and you're looking for a work experience program, the career link they'll write OJTs, we call them, on the job training. So it's kind of similar to the work experience program. It's essentially a tryout for that individual at a company, but always with the intention to, get hired after the fact. So
yeah. And then just to add on to that, Alec, it kind of reminded me of the other thing I really love about the 18 to 24 program that we do for that age bracket. It's great because now that they're adults, the program, there's one facet of it that includes the work site, the work experience. Then I already talked about the educational portion. But then there's a whole other part of that where, instead of just kind of like leaving the youth to kind of fend for themselves after their work experience is done,
yes,
we're here for them. We're here for them for at least a year, if not longer. And we follow up with those people. We follow up with those youth. And we ask how they're doing every month. It's regular follow-ups. And the reason for that, and I explained this to them up front, it's like, we don't want to annoy you. We don't want to hound you. We're here to help you. So I love it because we're PIC and because we have so many amazing programs, after they're done with their worksite experience with this program, we can follow up with them and connect them with, different career link programs that might help them depending where they are in life, and what their goals are. So it's just kind of like neat that we can kind of carry them, help assist them after their worksite experience is over too.
Yeah. The whole intention is to set them up for a career,
Yes.
not necessarily just a quote unquote summer job,
Right.
but it's to get them interested in a career. And then, great point about the follow up, because then if they are interested in, let's say they need a credential or some additional training to do that. And if you've been tuning into the PIC podcast regularly, as I'm sure all of our viewers have, I always like to get on, talk about the comprehensive services that we have here at Private Industry Council, job training obviously being one of them. So again, this is kind of like a good opportunity to get your foot in the door somewhere, learn about something, and then, have the access to get, in some cases, a training at a very reduced cost, if not totally free. So, that's why it's such a good opportunity for everybody. So
Definitely.
Now, I know this probably doesn't sound like something people really want to hear, but because of COVID, there were obviously a lot of layoffs and downsizing kind of situations.
Right.
How was PIC able to work with the work sites during all of this?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question, because I've actually kind of been realizing recently that when it comes to the work sites, like I've been reaching out to several different work sites recently, talking with them about like where they are with everything. Some of them are really just grateful for us because they have trouble restaffing.
Right.
Yeah.
However, there are some that just aren't being provided enough work to even support one of our youth going in. So I'm getting a little bit of mixed, what's the word? Like situationally kind of a little bit different, depending on what type of business it is and whatnot. But I do definitely have like a good portion of businesses who are just like, really getting a lot out of our program because of the hardships that they're going through with COVID. And with that said, as far as safety goes, that is something that we have definitely this year been focusing on.
Health plans,
yes,
health making sure that they have a health plan, everybody's signing off on them and everything like that.
Yeah.
So.
Supplying every work site with masks, cleaning solutions. and that kind of thing to help keep their worksite environment safe. I will say though, a lot of the work sites I've visited and have met with, they're on top of it. Like,
That's
I mean, I'm
just walking around and
impressive.
patronizing businesses outside of this program, you can tell like
Yeah.
how adaptive all businesses.
Yeah, and they have to be, you know, it's a survival thing, and they're still, yeah. So, I mean, that's been really good, kind of reassuring for me to see that work sites are looking out for themselves, their business, you know, their employees, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, we have definitely had to address that, and as best as we can. And we encourage our youth going into the work sites to definitely, we stress safety. Like that's one of the big things I talk about during a youth orientation is we have a packet, like, you know, a thick packet on safety, and that it covers everything. But I also do, I definitely have to, you know, mention COVID in that. So.
Yeah, it's been different this year, a little bit of a challenge. You know, I think normally we like to be on site to do a work site orientation or meet with the youth one-on-one. A lot of that has had to be virtual this year for obvious reasons. Yeah. So it's kind of like good too, because it gave us another option to do it, you know, so I'm sure we'll learn from this experience, you know, in the future. But it's definitely been a challenge, you know, whether the business has been closed or they're just, you know, like you said, not having enough work for, you know, additional staff. It didn't help either that this program runs on the calendar year. So, you know, January to December, a lot of our programs are like on the state calendar, which is June to July. Yeah. So with this one, you know, right around in the spring, when this was starting to hit, was kind of when actually the program kind of ramps up, you know, because it has, you know, full disclosure, been traditionally a summer program. Now it's more of like a full year type of thing. But, you know, it was like, okay, we couldn't get a response from the state. And then, you know, businesses were scrambling in that time too. And then that's kind of when, you know, there was so much uncertainty going on. Yeah. So I'm really proud of the team here at Private Industry Council for kind of like rolling with the punches. And, you know, I think doing the best job that we can, you know, during COVID here. So it's lightening up a little bit, but I still think we're seeing, you know, some challenges here and there.
Definitely. So. Yep.
Well, now that we've talked about this awesome program, how does someone go and apply for it?
Okay, I'm going to share the screen again since we, you know, are so familiar with Zoom these days. So on our website here, which should be showing on the screen, and I'm going to minimize those here in the corner a little bit. And really here you can learn about all of our great workforce development, education, early childhood programs. But if you go under education here, under youth services, right here you have the youth work experience page, and kind of gives you an overview of the program, just like we've been talking about. Have a flyer here, that's the flyer I was showing earlier. And then down here, if you keep scrolling, we have an application. This is really a pre-application because you do have to qualify for the program. So that's some of the questions we're gonna take a look at to say, okay, you know, this is your next step. This is what you're gonna have to do. Things along those lines. So if you are 18 to 24, for example, and you qualify, then the next step for you would be we would schedule you an appointment with the Career Link, depending on where you live. We have 3 Career Link offices, one in New Kensington, one in Youngwood, and one in Uniontown. We would schedule you an appointment there, and then they would do the eligibility. And then from there, we would just place you on a work site. And I would say the whole process, I mean, it can happen as quick as a couple of days. Yeah. You know, obviously it can take longer. You're going to need to bring some paperwork with you and some documents like a birth certificate. It's all right here on the website, kind of explains everything that you'll need to bring with you. So, but that's it. That's probably your best bet, or you can always call us here too, 724-836-2600. Talk to Megan, talk to one of our other great youth specialists, talk to Shelly Gilmore. She's our youth manager. You know, she's really knowledgeable about the program, obviously. And we'll get you working. Did I miss anything?
Sounds good. I don't think so. I feel like we covered a lot. Yeah, as much as I can think of to explain how everything works and what everything.
Yeah. So once again, that website is privateindustrycouncil.com/youth work experience. You can see it up here in the URL. And again, it's under education, youth services, youth work experience. And really, you can check out all the programs that we have here in the youth department. We have a CDL program. We do an after-school program. So there's a lot of great things that we do. Obviously, that's why we're talking about them. So.
All right. Well, I feel like that was a pretty informative podcast this week. So we're going to say goodbye and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks for watching.